Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Peggy Scott. Now, I was introduced to Peggy Scott through the amazing Rick, who you guys haven't met yet, but I promise you I will be bringing on the amazing Rick because I met the amazing Rick through Alex Onderud, who you guys have heard from twice already here on the show. But let me tell you about Peggy. So Peggy addresses the inner and outer game of presence and helps you define your personal brand so that you show up as your most powerful self. Now, many entrepreneurs invest in their education, their business marketing, and their message, but often they fail to recognize the most important thing that there is in marketing, and that's their presence. Peggy has been a presence coach with over 30 years of helping people transform their presence so that they are seen, valued, known, and respected. Peggy helps her clients raise the vibration of their presence to have a dynamic and joyful expression of themselves that is attractive, magnetic, and energized. Peggy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Who was that? Okay, I want to know her.
It all helps to have the right person reading your bio, Peggy. That's what I gotta say.
Amazing, really.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got about 150 bios that I've been practicing on over the years.
Yes, this is great. I love it. You got a great voice.
Oh, thank you, Peggy. All right. So, Peggy, tell us, how did you get into the world of presence?
Oh, boy. Let's see. It's a funny question because I've been interested in the whole business of, I don't even know that I would call it presence when I was a little girl. I was always observing other people. I'm just curious about people and really, really curious. And then, I also came from a family that didn't have a lot of means. We were from a big family. I'm the oldest. Okay. And we had a lot of hand-me-downs, but I wasn't about to make myself look like a poor waif or anything. I just wanted to show up. And so I started to put things together. Long story short, I went from there to high tech I've been all into different corporate places, but all along, what I was committed to was bringing about a presence, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is when I look at people, I see who's over there without, and I see the clothing, I see how you're showing up, but I'm also seeing who's over there. And what I'm doing when I'm working with people is drawing out their strengths. I've been coached, I've been trained, I've been through lots of different courses myself, and I have this passion for having people be their very, very best self. I've always, when I was little, I just was the shyest person, and I felt like and that's over.
Girl, I feel you so hard on that one. I was very much the same way. I was kind of shy and quiet as a kid, and well, this episode is not about me, but I'll tell you the rest of that story later. But continue. So you were shy and quiet as a kid. How did you get from there to presence? So it was over time, over work. So here's the thing I know that I knew about myself, but I didn't know how to get out of it, is that I know there's more to us than meets the eye. And I was living it. I suppose that's what was supposed to happen with me, is I was supposed to really get inside of that. There is more to us than meets the eye. So along the way, I, did some coaching, training, being coached, as I said. And
what I discovered was this passion I have for having people be seen, be known, because I was such a shy kid.
Mm.
And was misunderstood, and and I knew there was so much more. But I also have this strong spirit that was ready to come out whenever I was ready to let it happen. And I did a lot of training, like I said, and a lot of transformational work for myself so that I could show up.
Well, yeah, because how can you help others do the thing that you haven't done, right?
And this is a hard topic to talk about somewhat, because we're talking about presence. It's like talking about the air. It's like, how do you identify that? And when I went after looking at, so I did a couple of courses that allowed me to do deep dive in what is my passion? What do I want to bring to the table? And presence, as I describe it, is that atmosphere that walks around with you, that your aura, if you will. And what is that? How does that show up? That is your inner game, your values, your moods, your mindset, your ethics, your history, where you came from, all that.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, I love to dress up and look good. And I started to do some work around that. And what I do with that is I take who's over there, this person that you say you are, this, and then bring out your best by putting together an image that supports your presence.
Mm.
And what
That's
I mean
good.
by that is that, well, so let me just ask you, what are some of your values?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Ooh, I really value, oh gosh. I wasn't expecting to have to answer that question today.
It's okay.
So, no, I mean, I have some answers. I'm just trying to figure out. So I really value confidence, right?
Yes.
Being the best version of myself and working towards that personal development, lifelong learning, education.
Exactly.
Huge proponent of that. Surprise, surprise. I used to be a teacher, right?
Yes.
I value boldness, people who, take action, and yeah.
So here's my point in asking you this question. You physically show up like that with those values. So you're bold. You're interested in development. You said confidence. Confidence is all over you. Now, with that, so my values, when I walk in the room, my values come in with me, like yours, like you do. And when I do, I command a room without saying a word. People go, I don't know what that is. I call that presence. That's presence. And presence is that part that's kind of unseen, but so seen by people, like, I don't know what it is about you, but I want to know you, or I don't know about that person. I'm not going to deal with that person. So we feel that energy. So that's what I call presence.
Now, what's coming up for me in this is, because what I hear from a lot of people is, of course, you can do that. You're extroverted, and I'm an introvert, and I can't be that. They feel like they have to do the things I do or whatever as an extrovert, because when I'm in a group of people, I am extroverted.
Yes.
I'm technically an ambivert. That's a whole other thing. But because people only see me around other people, they assume that I'm always an extrovert. I'm like, oh no, you're so cute. I'm both. But how does an introvert show up with presence?
That is a fabulous question, because I thought I was an introvert, but no. Not at all. But here's the thing, and I hate the term, but I'm going to use it anyway. Fake it till you make it. So it's not that you want something to lead for you. So what I do is let's dress. So I work with people to get down to their values. What's their mindset? Where do they come from? All that, the inner working. And then let's put together an image, not pretentious, but that dresses, so when you show up, there's an elegance about you, or there's a confidence about you, or there's a boldness about you. And it speaks for you because your image is speaking way before your words are spoken.
Yep.
Somebody sees you, they already know a lot about you because within seconds, they've already made snap judgments of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on your image. So when I work with introverts or anyone, it's really to have your image speak well of you.
Yeah.
And speak consistently with who you are as a person. So a confident person, a CEO or a public speaker, what, so that it speaks of you, that there's an identifiable way of, it's like easy access to you.
Oh, yes, exactly. And I don't see that as necessarily fake it till you make it.
It's
I
not.
see that as really finally putting out there who you've always been, who you want to be, and stepping into it. I think there's a very different,
yes,
I think that's a very different approach because, of course, I can tell you just from the introverts that I have worked with in the past, they don't want to fake it till you make it. They hate fakeness, right? So I think what you do, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to help them, finally put into existence who they see themselves to be, who they
want to be,
who they want. Yeah, exactly. Who they want to be, but haven't had the courage, chutzpah,
permission.
Yeah, that exactly to do so. And now they're working with you. So they're like, well, I'm invested now, right?
Yes. And here's the thing. I love people. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be a nun at 14. I went to the convent. That didn't work out. The choices of clothes didn't work for me. I'm kidding about that, but I did go to the convent. I had to leave because I wasn't well. But then I realized, and when I do work with people, is I realize, what is your purpose in there? Who are you? And my purpose has always been about service. So that's what had me go to the convent. And now I'm back out here doing this and all that. But the thing is, I love people. I see people. That's what I did when I was a little girl on the bus. I was like, not picking them apart, but I was like, who's over there? And I just am curious about who's over there, but I honor who's over there. So when I work with people, I know it's a big, frightening deal. Especially, I've worked with men and women, and I just recently was working with a man. He says, I have no clue. That's a whole other way about it. Women they get, I don't want you to pick me apart. I don't want you to tell me what's wrong with me. I don't.
Right.
Because we already do that enough. We talk to ourselves in a way that you would never talk to another friend.
Oh, gosh, no kidding. So
I'm clear that this is a courageous act. So first of all, I give them that safety to say, okay, it's all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for your strengths. I'm going to pull that forward. And like you said, Jenny, is to step into it, step into like I said, there's more to us than meets the eye. And so step into that self because that's the authentic self. And what I'm after is an authentic expression of you. You're perfect. Just the way you are, even if your mind said, no, you are not. If they only knew. Yeah. And that's where I say, let's just dress for the occasion. And that is for you. Always take care of you first. That's like putting your mask on yourself first so that when you walk out the door, you're available to the people you want to be available to. Right. That doesn't mean that people are going to, I want to jump into you, but what I mean by that is that you're present.
Yeah. And that's the point of presence, right? Is that availability and that's where I think what people miss when talking about presence, it starts with you have to know yourself to know how you are going to show up, how you are showing up, right? Because that I think is what has completely changed in my presence. Because if the podcast listener right now were to go back and listen to my very first episode, they'll hear the story of when I started in direct sales. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. I was wearing yoga clothes, yoga pants, yoga tank top and sweatshirts, my hair in a ponytail all the time. The only jewelry I wore was my wedding ring and my watch. And occasionally, because I didn't want to lose it, the push present from my husband at the time for giving birth to my first child. But that was the extent to what I wore. And so that's how I showed up in the world. And it wasn't my best version of me. That I'm not a fitness professional. So why am I walking around in yoga pants and a tank top?
That's cute.
Right? Like fitness professionals, that's how you're supposed to show up. That's how
absolutely.
That is your presence. But that was not me.
Yeah.
This is a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
And so when I shifted that into being because I went into the world of fashion, it was so fun.
Yes.
Finding my sense of fashion again. It was finding who I was through this expression of jewelry and clothing finally.
Yeah. The thing is, the whole industry, the image business has kind of gotten a bad rap. And fashion too. It's like fashion, image. Why? Why do we need to? Well, we do. We have to wear clothes in the first place, or you're at a colony somewhere. But, and we do care. It's just, so it matters what you put together there. And, it's okay to play with what's out there and what's available. Wear the best if you can. You don't have to spend a fortune to look like $1 million. I help people go in through their closet and I show them how to rework that so that they have just what they need. And oftentimes they have plenty in their clothes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But they don't realize what they have. So that whole business of image has been getting a bad rap, like, it's no big deal, whatever. And it is a big deal because you're the person they're seeing. In business, your presence is your most powerful marketing message. It is what goes with you. And you can put a lot of energy into your website and everything else that you do. But if you don't have your game on, and that's where I come in and help people, let's get this connected to your purpose, to your brand, to your personal brand. What is your personal brand? What is your purpose? What do you want the world to know and love and see and engage with you? And that's where I'm going. So it's an exploration with people. And I do know that it's nerve-wracking to consider.
Yeah, it is. And there is so much more to presence than just your look, your clothing, right? Because at least I know for me, once I figured all of my clothing and my fashion and my look, and trust me, I did not have purple hair back then. This was a post-COVID, hey, I'm my own boss. My boss doesn't mind purple hair. She's not going to fire me for it. It's all good. So, but I did certainly, as I was, becoming, right, this version of Jennie that I had never been before, what it did was it also impacted the way I carried myself. It impacted how I spoke with other people. It impacted all of these things because I came at the world with a lot more confidence because finally I was like, yes, this feels more like who I am. This feels, because I loved being a stay-at-home mom, but I did not love myself in the way I was showing up image-wise, right? And I knew there was so much more to me than stay-at-home mom, which is still hardest job in the world. Hardest job in the world.
Yes.
And I knew that I had more. There was more purpose to where I was supposed to be going then.
You hit it on the head. You have a bigger purpose that was calling to you. So everything was going in that direction. And, we're becoming all the time. It's like don't get settled in what, like I'm at this age. And if I tried to dress like I did when I was in my 20s, it would be a little bit ridiculous. So although I'd be probably pull it off.
You totally could. You totally could, Peggy.
Why not? But here, and play. If you ever played dress up, even if you didn't, play, get experimental, try things out, get a friend over and say, hey, what does this look like? Or try, just have fun with it. But the point that I'm after is really having you show up authentically, powerfully, purposefully, so that you get where you want to go in life, connect with the people you want to connect with, have your message be known, have you be seen, have you be valued, have people seek you for what you do.
Absolutely. So I have an audience here. We've got a listener who's listening right now going, okay, now how does this work for me? So I have one listener in particular who I know exists, and she's a Pampered Chef rep. And she's probably wondering, okay, how does this presence thing work for me as a pampered chef lady? Like, let's use her as an example to show how we could potentially use presence to build her business.
Okay. So is she pretty successful at what she's doing?
She's working on building her business. So yes, she still has her ups and downs, roller coaster in the business kind of thing, but she's finding her way in the world of business right now.
Okay. Well, I would probably have a one-on-one conversation. And by the way, to any of your listeners, I'm offering a 30-minute complimentary session. And in doing so, it's complimentary. So take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And in doing so, let's have her talk to me and we, get her started on how she can transform her presence so that she shows up as the badass, powerful woman. And,
she's
knock it
amazing.
out of the park.
She is amazing. And I'm not going to name her by name, but the fact that I've already brought up some of that stuff, I know she's sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, Jenny's talking about me. So yes. So, but to that point, because I can definitely see that, because I know she's extremely representative of my audience, which is trying to find my place, trying to find who I am in the world, trying to find my place in business. And this presence thing sounds good, but how do I know it's really an individual thing, but what's the next step?
What we do is I would take you through a process, and the process is starting with what are your values? Mm-hmm. So we go in first and then we work on the outside if it's necessary. So, but what we do, we want to align that with your values. What's your purpose? How well are you taking care of yourself? What are your boundaries? So I go in and into those discussions with that person and with her and say, okay, let's get you really grounded and balanced in all those, just, your values, your purpose, your well-being practices, everything is in line. And when you show up now, let's take a look on the outside. If there's anything that we need to do to, bring more confidence into your presence. And how are you speaking? How do you show up? How are you walking? How are you getting in? That kind of thing. So it's going from the inner game, the internal state to the physical state so that there is an alignment and she can show up.
Yeah.
That's where I go. So I work with them through a process of that. I work with her. I don't want to say them, but work with her through a process of going there and getting her grounded there.
And I
people
think, I think that's what people
so
miss.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what people miss is it's not just about confidence. It's not just about your look. It's not just about all of these other things. It's about getting everything in alignment, right? That the inner self that you want to be showing up as the outer version of you.
Yes.
And I wish people could see my hands right now and putting it all in alignment, like getting it all lined up. So that way, because when there is that disconnect, other people sense it. And there is they're like, I like you, but it's hard for people to want to follow what you're asking them to do, which is purchase the product, join the team, whatever. Because as soon as I found who I was and got all of that in alignment in my direct sales business, my team exploded because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want to follow her.
Exactly.
Right. And it's not
Yes.
because I was extroverted or da da da. It was
No.
because the reason people wanted to follow me was because I was in alignment.
And here's the thing. What I also access with each and every person is their natural self-expression as a leader.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. Because when you walk in the room, there's a leader that shows up.
Yes.
And then you've got your value. You got it all. You got it going on. And people don't know what it is, but you got it. And that's called presence.
Yeah.
When you walk in the room, people go, who is that? Or they rise to the occasion. Wow. And it's that confidence and it's nailing the inner game, really getting that clear.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just like, what is my purpose? What do I want to bring to the table? Who am I? All of that is worth the exploration.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. So for someone who wants to check in on how they can impact their image and elevate their presence, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
How can they begin to do that?
Well, there's a couple ways. One, they can go onto my website, and I think you're putting that in the show notes, right? Okay, so I won't. But it's called How to Elevate Your Presence, how you can positively impact your image and elevate your presence. And here's 5 ways you can do it immediately. And one of them really is your mindset. That's a major deal. That's a major operator right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Until
look
you
in the mirror next time and say, God, you're great. Instead of, oh, what happened here?
Yes. Yes. I mean, the mindset is the foundation for everything else because how you think about things ends up showing up in how you speak about it and how you behave around it. So if somebody, and I'm not going to say you, but if somebody has a negative mindset about who they are and how they're showing up in the world, they're going to speak about themselves in that way. They're going to behave around themselves in that way. And then who wants to buy from, join team of, follow somebody who's like that?
Yes. And there, we have this powerful tool called our mind and and we're in charge, but we always forget, that think the mind dictates to where, but we can change that. And it's not just positive thinking. It really is shifting how you believe about it. So there's that. And then there's a couple things that I put out there. So, and one major thing is manage your well-being. If you don't, if you're not getting rest, if you're not doing the exercise you need or eating right, it's just not going to play well in the long term. So that's part of that inner self that you must take care of.
Absolutely. So those are just 2 quick, easy ways, guys. And Peggy has this amazing option for you. And the link is in the show notes. For those of you who are listening for the very first time, what you're going to do is grab your phone, click on today's episode that you're listening to right now, scroll up just a little bit and you'll see the show notes right there. You'll see Peggy's bio, her contact information, and then you're going to see a link. And it says link to 5 ways to impact your image and elevate your presence. Click on that link and that will take you directly to where you can go get that information from Peggy and her website. So you can dig into all 5 ways. We just gave you the first couple to kind of whet your appetite to go, ooh, what else could I do? What else is there that I could do to impact my presence? And don't forget, she's offered you as a listener of the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, a complimentary coaching session to talk about presence. So we will also put a link to book a time with Peggy and make sure you tell her that you heard her here on the BDSM podcast because she wants to know that you came from Jennie, came from here, right? Because what she's going to do is she's going to help pinpoint this for you, your presence in your direct sales business, in your network marketing business, in your whatever business you happen to be in, whether it's direct sales, network marketing, MLM, it doesn't matter, but she's going to direct your presence in that industry to help you guys with that. So Peggy, you're awesome.
Oh, thank you. So are you. I love working with you and talking to you. And you are a badass, powerful woman with a lot of confidence. And I love the purple hair.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting ready. I'm repurpling it next week because I'm going to Denver.
All right. Flash it.
Absolutely. Well, Peggy, I know that this is not going to be the only time I have you on the show. We are going to have you back to talk more about presence, more what people can do, because there is so much to unpack in that world. We couldn't possibly not that we ever will cover it all. We won't, because there's just
No.
so much. But we will have you back, Peggy, because I absolutely
Thank you.
adore you and want to share your knowledge, share you with my audience, especially as we grow, because this audience is amazing. And
I get it.
my audience is fabulous, because the Badass Crew, because they share my podcast with other people. They must be, because it's growing. It's growing. It's fantabulous.
Well, that is also your presence and influence on your presence. People want to listen to you. And that is you. Here's the thing. I say to people, dare to be extraordinary, because you really, truly are. You're the best. Remember, you're the child that people just adored. You're that person now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That gave me goosebumps. Peggy, you're awesome. You're seriously awesome. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love the amazing Rick just because he introduced me to you for no other reason. I mean,
well, that's
he's
enough
amazing,
right there.
Right? Oh my gosh. Peggy, thank you for taking your time and expertise and sharing it here with us. I so appreciate you. And we will see you back here on the show very soon. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there is another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast, so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.